Number 5. Redhead Shanks. Moving on to Luffy's mentor and a former member of the Roger Pirates, here we have our first truly staggering bounty, clocking in at 4,048,900,000 berries. Now Shanks is quite the mysterious living legend, however despite the very minute information we know about him, every detail we do receive is rather world shaking, sometimes quite literally, such as when he clashed with Whitebeard and caused the sky to split open. In fact, his power is incredibly impressive in general, given that he is the first figure to appear on this list who is not confirmed to be a Devil Fruit user. Everything about this man is 100% raw Shanks. Nothing is off limits for this fiery redhead, as he is a man who can casually stroll into the holy land of Marijois as one of the most infamous pirates in the world to have a chat with Gorosei. And at the same time, he's also the kind of guy that can step foot onto a battlefield between two of the greatest and most powerful factions that this world has ever seen and calmly state that he is here to end the war. And you know what happened? That war ended immediately. There is something about Shanks that demands the respect of the world, and that is well reflected in his bounty. Number 4. Charlotte Lin. And here is a figure in the world who commands fear like no other. Honestly, Charlotte Linlin's monetary value of 4,388,000,000 berries barely describes what this woman is capable of, in my opinion. To put things into some perspective, Linlin was born abnormally strong, to the point where she was capable of combating and killing giants at the tender age of 5 years old. Moving into adulthood, there is very little in this world that can equal her physical prowess, as she is nigh on invincible due to her natural state, but she has also mastered all 3 types of Haki, and on top of that, she acquired one of the most alarming devil fruits within the entire series, the Sorosoro no Mi, a paramecia type fruit that allows its user to manipulate the souls of others, as well as themselves, but others is what we're really focused on. Although her true element of fear comes from the fact that she will, very commonly, erupt into hunger tantrums, using all of her established powers to wreak havoc and kill indiscriminately until Linlin receives the food she desires. Without a doubt, the strongest woman in the world, and more than likely, the current strongest human in the world, period. However, there are at least 3 individuals whom the world government have considered more of a danger than Linlin. Number 3. Kaido. So there is very little in this world capable of matching the sheer physicality of Charlotte Lin, but here is one of those very rare existences. In fact, recently in the manga, we received first-hand evidence of their power in contrast to one another, resulting in a stalemate and another sky-splitting moment. However, sitting at a ridiculous 4,611,100,000 berries, Kaido has been deemed as more of a threat to the world. Now why is that? Well, Kaido is a creature who is essentially unkillable. During his life as a pirate, Kaido has been defeated 7 times and captured 18 times. From here, he has been subject to torture and sentenced to death 40 times. But no method of execution produced so much as a scratch on Kaido. His durability is so extreme that Kaido can jump off a sky island and land 10,000 meters later onto the ground and emerge with but a mere headache. Oh, and he can also become a giant dragon and defeat Gear 4th Luffy with a single strike. Kaido is impossibly powerful and disturbingly volatile. Also, unlike Lin, whose dream is to unite the races of the world in her own twisted manner, Kaido desires only to plunge the entire world into war. And you know what? He has the power to do just that. Number 2. Edward Newgate. Breaking an inconceivable barrier here, I now present to you the strongest man in the world, also known as Whitebeard, and being worth a preposterous 5,046,000,000 berries. As with most figures on the upper half of this list though, it's hard to argue with that number, especially given everything we've seen of Whitebeard. And to be clear, we've not even seen this man in his prime. During the Marineford arc, he was 72 years of age and in very poor health, and yet he was still unequivocally the most dangerous presence in the Paramount War. And when we're talking about a conflict that features figures like the Marine Admirals or the Warlords of the Sea, that's not a light statement to make. However, Whitebeard was capable of handing all of their asses to them, having made a specific example of then Admiral Akainu, through his sheer strength and devil fruit, which has already been mentioned on this list, but it was the Gorogoro no Mi, which once again held the potential to quite literally destroy the world. And even when he was overcome in his old age by 267 sword wounds, 152 bullets, 46 cannonballs, a laser beam to the chest, and a magma fist blowing off a third of his head, Whitebeard passed away standing tall without a single wound or scar on his back, as during his entire pirate career, he had never once run away. That is the kind of person worth 5 billion berries. So who is the only confirmed individual in this world who trumps this? Number 1. Gol D. Roger. Here, at long last, the former Pirate King himself, revealed to have a bounty of 5,564,800,000 berries. So what can one man possibly do to be worth this much? Well, a good start would be by being the captain of the only known crew to have set foot on Raftel, resulting in him becoming the Pirate King, a feat so impressive that it is believed impossible to achieve by the vast majority of the world. However, in order to get there, Roger made quite a lot of enemies, one of which being the hero of the Marines, Monkey D. Garp, who was quite possibly the most powerful Marine to have ever existed, and even he was incapable of capturing Roger, despite having cornered him on many occasions. Roger's exploits certainly do not end there though, as he also made enemies of Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard. Simultaneously, mind you, as all three of them were part of the same pirate crew back in the day, and Roger actually teamed up with Garp to defeat them. But oddly enough, Roger's most infamous action in this world was his death, a voluntary matter that sparked the Great Age of Piracy and the long-standing race to become the next Pirate King. And you know what? Compared to that, 5.5 billion doesn't seem like it was anywhere near enough to cover his legacy.